In this presentation, the short story I will be covering will be Marigolds by Eugenia W. Collier. Eugenia was born April 6, 1928, and her best work was this story. This story was released in 1969 and won the Gwendolyn Brooks Prize for Fiction Award. She was also born in Baltimore, Maryland. In this story, the main character goes through a fit of rage that ends her childhood. In the poor black neighborhood where the main character grew up, Elizabeth, her and her friends would bother her old neighbor, Miss Lottie. Miss Lottie had a beautiful garden of flowers called marigolds. The children were jealous of the flowers, which eventually resulted in Elizabeth destroying the bed of flowers in a fit of rage after hearing about her father's distress and about their living situation. Elizabeth states herself that she leaped furiously into the mounds of marigolds and pulled madly, trampling and pulling and destroying the perfect yellow blooms. The fresh smell of early morning and dew-soaked marigolds spurred onto me as I went tearing and mangling while sobbing, while Joe tugged on my waist and dress, crying, "Elizabeth, stop! Please stop!" After Elizabeth does this, she immediately regrets when she sees Miss Lottie standing in front of her. Her anger is replaced with shame because of her childish actions, signifying her transition from girl to woman. Miss Lottie's reaction to her actions is a single tear and a face of despair. Elizabeth then recalls herself that this is the moment she changed for the rest of her life when she says, The years have taken me worlds away from that time in that place, from the dust and squalor of our lives, and from the bright thing that I destroyed in a blind, childish striking out at God knows what. The bright thing is metaphorically her childhood. The marigolds in this story are symbolically the good of Miss Lottie's life. Elizabeth destroying her marigolds was the childish action that put her on the path of adulthood. Okay, now the setting. Marigolds takes place in a rural African American community during the 1930s. A time of racial segregation, poverty, and limited opportunity. This setting offers important clues about the development of the story's theme or underlying message. Now for the main characters. Elizabeth, her brother and her friends call her Elizabeth. She is the story's narrator and protagonist, although somewhat of an antagonist. Miss Lottie is the elderly neighbor who tends to her beloved marigolds, which represent the possibility of beauty and deprivation as well as childhood. And Joey is Elizabeth's mischievous younger brother. The main theme or message in the story Marigolds is the importance of empathy and compassion. In this story, Elizabeth is reflecting on a crossroads in her life, an incident that marked the change from child to woman. Before the day she tore up the old lady's marigolds, she had not thought of Miss Lottie as a real person. In the book, many a time, they refer to Miss Lottie as a witch, and they make stories up about her. Miss Lottie's marigolds are likewise associated with the sun or childhood, being vibrant yellow and gold in color. The flowers are open when the sun is out. The marigold is also called the herb of the sun, representing passion and even creativity. It is also eventually turned into, through Elizabeth's childish actions, a symbolism of grief, jealousy, and cruelty. And that was my presentation.